Of course Oscar is into me. Why wouldn't he be? I'm thoughtful, beautiful, surrounded by a calming mist. I've also got great hair. And since I'm technically dead, I'm extremely low maintenance. Look, I don't like to throw the term anime waifu too often, but if the body pillow fits, feel free to snuggle it, you know what I mean?
Dead by Daylight hooked on you is nothing short of a fever dream made reality. For those that don't know, the classic Dead by Daylight is an asymmetrical horror game that, while not the inventor of the asymmetrical horror genre, now stands as a perfect example of what these types of games should try to be. Now, the community is one of the worst ones out there, with players telling each other the worst things you can even imagine.
Leave Trapper to the entity. You are trash.
Wait, what? Me?
Left hand better than you, goof. You and
Player name.
are both.
You sound salty. Is it because you lost? But surprisingly, there's one thing the community unanimously agrees on. We all wish we could have Huntress just crush our head between her thighs. Which leads us perfectly to Dead by Daylight Hooked on You. What really makes Hooked on You different, besides giving its iconic killers the skimpiest swimsuits you've ever seen,
This is an extreme first.
is that Behavior, the company behind DBD, let PsyOp take the reins on the project. Now, why does this matter? Well, PsyOp made the legendary I Love You Colonel Sanders dating sim, which gave a certain iconic mascot a loving new makeover. And if that's not enough, PsyOp also produced a short film for a very small indie developer named, Supercell? They did the Lost and Crowned short film. They even got an Oscar nomination out of it. Not a nomination from me, but the other Oscar that actually matters. So needless to say, when this announcement came out of nowhere during the 6-year celebration,
announcing a Dead by Daylight dating sim,
the community lost their minds. And now that it's finally out, how is the game? Ladies and gentlemen, the art speaks for itself. PsyOp took these terrifying giants and, well...
But see, Shrek and I took some magic potion, and well, now... we're sexy!
And now that we have established how drop dead gorgeous the game is, there's only one more thing left to do until we can talk about other things. Go to horny jail, every last one of you! Yep, this is definitely the art that most fans came here for. But while there is no denying that the game is pretty, there is more to a dating sim than just really well-drawn hottie tamales. A good dating sim has to have well-written characters, some unique mechanics, and an interesting plot to tie it all together. Does Hooked on You have what it takes to be considered a good dating sim? Well, let's name our character and get started on the adventure. And remember, only losers use their real names for dating sims. I am not a good man, nor have I ever claimed to be. Oh, and also spoiler alerts for Hooked on You from this point on. The game's not that complex story-wise, but you have been warned. The game starts with your character waking up on some sort of island. You can't remember a thing except your name. You have voices in your head talking to you, one narrating and the other, well, the actual ocean itself, I guess? I don't know, dude. And to make matters even worse, you find a dismembered head. But hey, if you chose to dig it up, you find a gold coin. And before you even have any time to think about it, a stray volleyball introduces you to the reason you even bought the game.
Oh, hot, 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 hot! Hot, 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 hot!
With some words of encouragement from your new buddies, the ocean, and the narrator, you talk and start to get to know everyone. Don't be scared, Oscar. You were made for this. Well, that doesn't sound ominous at all. You make your way over to everyone, and when a group of antisocial outcasts get together, they introduce each other the only way they know how. bombarding you with random and barely relevant questions. How attractive am I? Well, it's my game, let me dream, okay? And right after this, your favorite band of killers finally introduce themselves. Trapper. He is the typical jock. He is tall, muscular, loves talking about his muscles, and loves traps more than Fred Jones. Wraith. He is the awkward nerd. Really smart, but has a habit of letting his crippling anxiety get the better of him. So he mostly speaks in sentences that, have pauses and kind of trail off and get quieter at the end. Spirit. She is dead and out for revenge, and she loves reminding you about it. She is the goth girl waifu you've always wanted. And just like real goth girl waifus, she hates you and wants nothing to do with you. Hey, control yourself. You just got bonked like 2 minutes ago. Then there's Huntress. She's a strong, independent woman who don't need no man, and she's the main reason people bought this game for obvious reasons. At this point, you get your first big surprise. Dwight and Claudette are in this game. And no lie, they look good too. Not in a, yo, you ever heard of a throuple kind of way, but their art design is a testament that PSYOP really knows what they're doing. They announced that they are the activity coordinators of the island and are in charge of most of the activities. Their narrator refers to them as survivors with a capital S because these two are the only ones that survived the interview process. Okay, you got me with that one. I don't know what it is about this writing, but it is absolutely my kind of humor. At this point in the story, you are now free to pursue your heart's most wicked desires. And by that, I mean start trying to jump the bones of your favorite killing hottie. But I know you're only here for Huntress, so let's get started. Let's get this show on the road. Huntress really likes to be active, so you stick around and finish the game of volleyball you interrupted. She mentions how she hates sitting down in one place, saying stuff like, "You're just asking for a sneak attack from an elk." Wow, that's oddly specific. Wonder why... Oh. Well, losing your mom can make for lifelong trauma, especially at a young age. Being a hunter, you can assume that it must have been especially traumatizing. It's probably going to take a lifelong therapy session in order to forget cheer for me cute stuff. Yes, ma'am. Whatever you say, ma'am. At this point, Dwight and Claudette ask who it is you have your eye on. I can imagine the two of us, panting, sweating, oh yeah, as we mountain climb. Now this gordito's staying home. If I grab the side of a mountain, my fat ass is going to bring the whole side down with me. But luckily, there is another way to impress Huntress. Skill checks. Throughout the game, there will be a lot of moments where you have to do the hooked on you version of skill checks. Don't worry about these skill checks too much. It seems like they rarely do anything outside of reactionary dialogues. Afterwards, you and the killers go enjoy a meal and you meet an unexpected guest, the Trickster.
Oh my god, you could grind meat on it.
But before any fangirls get the chance to slide their panties off, the Trickster announces that he's not here for love, just wanted to invite us over to IP Island. What's that? That's where all the licensed killers live. The kind of killers they can't even name because it would low-key make the lawyers really angry. That's what IP Island is. And the best part about it? Much like a guy with erectile dysfunction, you can't come. Yep, the Trickster is just here to blueball you and let you know they could have added licensed killers, but they chose not to. Then he leaves you and you go right back to cutting up the meat. You cut the meat via skill check minigame, you pass out when you realize you're probably eating Felix, and then you wake up in the muscular arms of Huntress. Okay, this ain't so bad. I could get used to this. Afterwards, Dwight and Claudette come block you and you head off to the fire for story time. Once you're at the campfire, you can pick a killer to tell a scary story, but it's mainly an excuse to exposition dump and give you their backstory under the guise of, ooh, spooky story. When you pick Huntress, it allows you to hear firsthand how she used to live before she became a killer. Oh, so you used to abduct little girls and tie them by the necks to the wall. Why? Oh, because you wanted to protect them from the dangers outside. Well, yeah, I'm sure besides the whole dying of starvation thing, they had a great time. Once Huntress is done telling the story, you and Huntress go to a hot tub and flirt some more, because nothing gets your flirt on like child abduction and murder. Oh yeah? You talk about her story for a bit, flirt, and then the survivors come ruin the night once more.
Alright, let's tell each other a secret about ourselves. I'm gonna go first. I hate you.
And then just like that, it's time to say goodnight. You make a cute bow hunting motion. Huntress catches the imaginary arrow you shoot in her teeth and then bites down, snapping it in half. At least that's what you think she's doing. It's hard to tell. Well, glad to see I'm not the only one who struggles with flirting. So Huntress and you go back to the campfire for bedtime, and the survivors give you a radio so you can listen to your favorite hits, including ominous music, slightly less ominous music, and my personal favorite, blatant lies.
Let's talk about our community. For us,
No,
it
this
means,
is not an
two
edit.
major
This is
things.
actually
First
in
of
the
all,
game.
The community is you out there. It's you and
For some reason, the lies aren't hitting as well as they usually do, so you call over Huntress to keep you company as you fall asleep. At least until Wraith comes out of nowhere and basically says, hey, I really wish you could have picked me, because, well, I think we'd be cute, so, pick me next time if you're okay with that. You're a real winner there, Wraith. But once they leave, you get some well-earned shut-eye. And while you're getting that shut-eye, all the killers sit around reality TV style and talk about how their experiences with you went. Everyone just gives a generic, he seems nice. It would be cool to get to know him better. My god, we went from decapitated head to reality TV. What is this game? You wake up to Trickster and, most importantly, his abs. He offers you some coffee and tries to get you to come over to IP Island. But before you get the chance to ask, he's gone. You start to drink the coffee before the omniscient narrator slaps it out of your hand. They don't call him the Trickster because he's good on a skateboard.
Skateboards.
As a token of thanks, the Ocean and narrator use this time to basically beg you to leave a good review of the game. No, I'm not joking. This whole section is basically an entire setup for them to directly ask you to leave a good review of the game. They even make you sign a joke NDA that prevents you from saying negative things. I am having a great time and not suspicious that there is no option. I don't even got a line for that. So after that attempted peer pressure, your morning goes on, you have breakfast with the killers.
Breakfast?
You overhear Dwight and Claudette killing each other a little too enthusiastically. No, stick it in there. Little more. Oh yeah, that's it, yes. Yeah, apparently they're trying to find a way to turn permadeath on. Being the constant victims in an island full of serial killers can be quite a drag, it turns out. I've come to believe that the key is finding the exact place we need to bleed out from. And I believe that is our appendix. Why else would it be there? Makes sense to me. You and Huntress make your way back to her cabin. She gives you the tour and...
I am the storm that is approaching.
And just like that, you're being attacked by a random group of crabs. Being the romantic that I am, I chose to fight off the crabs side by side with Huntress. You know, nothing is more romantic than stabbing into shellfish on a first date. Gotta show her you're capable of teamwork. But right on cue, the survivors come through and announce that they have an announcement so important it must be announced at the beach. You walk to the beach and they admit that there will be no announcing. It was all a trick to get Trapper to steal you away from Huntress. Oh my god, Trapper, stop. You walk away with Huntress and head back to the cabin. She mounts you. Oh! Onto her back. Oh. And she swings through the trees and you play hide and seek in the middle of a forest. But before things can get too interesting, the survivors arrive. Apparently it's time for dinner. You eat dinner, tell everyone about how many crabs you killed, and then everyone moves to the fire pit. Once there, it's your turn to tell a story. At least until everyone realizes you suck at telling stories, then you pick someone else. Naturally, I chose Huntress. This guy followed this group of naked women into the forest hoping to bang, and now he's dead. 10 out of 10 there, Huntress. 10 out of 10. After the story, Huntress takes you out to the bar and you talk about romantic things like what mushrooms can kill you in the wild. Whoa, careful there, Huntress. We can't show too steamy stuff, otherwise this video gets demonetized. I don't want to lose my whole $0. And right before everyone goes to bed, the survivors gather everyone up, and apparently someone is getting eliminated. Ooh. No, they won't be removed from the island or anything, but apparently the game decided that from this moment on, you have to pick someone you can't date anymore. So, I guess bye, Trapper? He threatens to kill me tomorrow, but sucks for him, I'm planning on dying by asphyxiation tonight.
I can't breathe. All right, hold on. Hang about. Not so fast.
You go to bed, the killers sit around and talk about their potential dates for tomorrow. One of the killers, in my case Trapper, says he's totally not mad about the whole thing and only wants to kill me as a friend, and, life goes on. Trickster even shows up to flex IP Island one more time. He even talks about Oh, are we not doing this? Ghostface. He said it. The next morning, you wake up to the survivors trying to give you good advice. They mention how you shouldn't try to go all the way with a killer if you think they don't feel the same way about you. They tell me that the person I should try going for is Huntress. Really? You think I should go for Huntress? You think she likes me? Regardless of what the blocks think, you go on your way and meet up with all the killers. To add a scene of pointless drama, they give you a rose and it's up to you to decide who it goes to. Naturally, I gave it to Huntress, and then it's date time. You both steal Trapper's yacht and she presents you with a special gift. Your very own mask. What a momentous occasion. Let's celebrate by going back to your place. But don't get too excited, she says she wants to go on a scavenger hunt first.
My disappointment is immeasurable.
You both go on a scavenger hunt that takes you to the lairs of all the other killers. You use your mighty skill check powers to find all the items. One of the items even leads to a cool cameo. But the cameo isn't the prize. The real prize is revealed when you go back to Huntress's cabin. Oh yeah, that's right. A sudden meeting with her mom. Yeah, the mom materializes in spirit form and then judges you based on how you respond to her. She hopes she's not interrupting. Hey yo homie, there is such a thing as being too honest. Chill. Just be nice. I only want to protect her. You think my Anna needs protecting? Have you seen her thighs? She could crush you with them. Guys, please. There's people out there that actually want to know more about the story and not just meme around. This video is not for them. This is for you, my fellow sucios. Regardless of how you choose to talk to the mom, she leaves and then it's back to just you and Huntress. But before you can finally seal the deal, she has one last request. She wants you to kill the survivors. Hey, you know what? If it means no more interruptions... Now, as a wise man once said, let's go. So you start making out, but the narrator walks out almost right away, claiming that the murder he can totally stand. But hanky-panky? Ew, no thanks. And funnily enough, you know who are the ones to interrupt you right after? The survivors. You know, for someone that's not a killer, you sure do a really good job of killing the buzz. So you go back to the beach and here is where the voices in your head start talking again. The ocean wants you to fulfill your mission. And now, the Huntress turns to you and reveals her true desires. To make a life in the woods and have lots of kids. This is my mission and I will fulfill it to the best of my abilities. And then, You follow Hunches into the woods, leaving your bathing suits behind.
Nice.
No lie, the story for Hunches was really fun and is quite possibly my favorite on DVD Hooked on You. Of course, it's not perfect, but it is fun and it is very interesting seeing her family-oriented side. Deep down, this poor woman only wanted to be a mom. Honestly, I am tempted to cover all the killers and their stories on Hooked on You, but there's just one small problem. The game isn't that good and it's honestly not worth all the effort. Now you're probably like, whoa, what? Oscar, chill, my neck hurts from that whiplash your opinion just gave me. And yeah, I get it, the game does sound like fun. I just spent every minute of this video up until now hyping the game up. What changed? Nothing. And that's exactly what bothers me about the game. You wake up on a mysterious island inhabited by some of the deadliest killers. And nothing ever really develops aside from, hey, which one you taking to Pound Town? I guess what really bugs me is that the Dead by Daylight devs have proven to be really good at writing lore. So I am a bit disappointed that this game just feels like fan fiction that got a license stamp on it. If it was anywhere near as good as the standard lore, it could have been great. Have you read some of the other killer backstories? Trickster is an annoying killer to play against, but wow, his backstory is really good. It's paced well, shows his gradual descent from well-meaning kid to absolute sociopath, and it explains how he is able to murder so much and get away with it. It's really well done, and I really wish this dating sim was even a little bit like that. Now that doesn't necessarily mean the dating sim is badly written. The jokes on here are really witty, and they hit hard and fast most of the time. But the jokes just aren't, meaningful? I guess that's a good way to put it. I guess a good example of that is how early on the killers ask what superpower you would like, and if you pick invisibility, Raid says he sometimes feels like he already has that power. Huh, get it? That's his power in the game, but he also feels like an invisible loser. Some of the jokes do build on some sort of lore, but here, let me just show you. In Spirit's ending, and in an alternate dialogue for Trapper, they reveal that the killers do bang each other casually. It's not the most, interesting or useful lore, but it does create some funny scenarios like Trapper killing you and then calling Hunches over to get freaky on your corpse. Oh, is this that new Dead Hard update? So while I do admit that Hooked on You has some funny jokes, they just don't add much besides style to the game. I 100% admit the game has style and presentation nailed to a T, but what it doesn't have is substance. There's no real twist to the story. It really is just press spacebar to bang. Yeah, there is a slightly hidden route, and by slightly I mean it's the other half of a binary choice at the end of every route where you can break the killer's hearts. Why would you want to do this? Turns out, and prepare yourself for this absolute shocker of a twist, the ocean and the narrator are both just the entity. You see, the entity created this area and you in the hopes that you would fall in love and then break the hearts of all the killers as his new monster. If you're waiting for a further elaboration on why the entity would go through the trouble of doing all this, you're kind of wasting your time. That's basically it. Hooked on You is the definition of a 5 out of 10 game. There's nothing exactly wrong with it, but there's definitely nothing especially great about it either. It's a fine game if you got the extra $10 to burn, but honestly, in a world where there are so many great visual novels, why would you want to waste any of your time on this game? Again, I admit, the jokes are funny, but the game repeats so much content. The killer routes may be different at certain points, but there's so much repetition in between. I'm sure eating Felix is just as funny the third time around as it was the first. But again, the game is not all bad. My favorite joke in the game is where, if you keep trying to date Trickster, the game will insist it's just a guaranteed death and that there is no secret Trickster route. But if you do it enough times, the game will give you an achievement. And the best part? Delete all your saves. You know what? Fine by me. I got my completionist achievement and all the spicy pics are already up for free on the interwebs. Peace out, ladies and gentlemen. I'm out.